I'm Jacob Courtwright, and this is The Locker Room. Hello and welcome into The Locker Room, episode number 8. On today's episode, we get into Cam Newton and why he has not been signed in NFL free agency. I also invite one of my very good friends, a college basketball player turned musician, singer, songwriter, Yalen Reed will be on the show later to discuss a little bit more of the NBA. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, by popular demand, Cam Newton is being discussed on the podcast. I have nothing against Cam Newton. I, for some reason, have a ton of passionate followers and fans that are obsessed with Cam Newton and are very upset that I haven't discussed Cam Newton not being signed to a team. So, by popular demand, I bring you why I think Cam Newton is not signed to a team. Let's go ahead and start with this. Cam Newton's too expensive. Cam Newton is too expensive. You can't sit Superman on the bench and pay him $22 million a year on a 2-year contract. You can't. Plain and simple, he's too expensive. And if he had a starting quarterback job being offered to him, he would have already signed by now. So I can go ahead and make that assumption that Cam Newton is going to be paid as a backup to sit on your bench because no one in the NFL is offering Cam Newton a starting job right now. Otherwise, he would have signed on the dotted line, and Superman would be the headliner at an organization right now. But he's not. So, first and foremost, Cam Newton's too expensive. Secondly, and I think this is more of a personal reason, I don't think Cam Newton's been offered a starting job in the NFL. Because at this point, I think Cam Newton would take any opportunity he could to be a starter in the NFL. Now, I know a lot of teams have said, whoa, we haven't seen him work out. He hasn't been able to come to the facility because of COVID. That's all well and good. If you're going to take the chance on a Cam Newton to come work out at your facility and possibly sign him after that, why not just take the chance now? So I think selfishly, Cam Newton's not signing because Cam Newton doesn't believe he's a backup. And here's the thing. I don't think Cam Newton's a backup either. So I don't want a lot of people hitting me up going, oh, but you said Cam Newton. No, Cam Newton is definitely a starting quarterback in the NFL. Hands down. He's just too expensive. And not a lot of teams want to take the chance because he's injured so often. I think Indianapolis would have been a perfect fit for Cam Newton. If Indianapolis would have been able to see Cam Newton work out, would have been able to see Cam Newton healthy after his surgery, I think Indianapolis would have been the perfect fit, and I think that would have made Indianapolis the Super Bowl favorites, in that, especially not only in the AFC, but they would run away with the division. I also don't understand why New England is rolling with Stidham and didn't go out and get Cam Newton on a 1 or a 2-year deal. I think that New England's going to be just good enough to where they will miss out on the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. So if you know that you're not going to get Trevor Lawrence, you know that the New England Patriots are going to at least win 6-7 games at minimum. Most people have them pegged to win 8 to 9 games. If you know that you're going to have a somewhat decent season, why not go out and get Cam Newton for a couple years? I mean, I argue Jameis Winston for New England would have been a perfect fit, not only for Jameis, but for Belichick and for his system. But go get Cam Newton for a couple years. Sign Cam Newton to a 1-year deal. If you believe in Stidham so heavily, let him sit under a former MVP, a former, player that played in the Super Bowl. New England, it's looking pretty rough for you guys. I'm not going to lie. All you New England fans, I would be worried. Because right now it looks like Belichick's trying to either sink the team or keep him above water just long enough to where he does too much damage and then Belichick retires. I thought another good option for Cam Newton would have been the Chargers. I like Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers made a smart future pick there. But the Chargers are stacked enough now where they could have gone and gotten an offensive weapon, or they could have gotten Isaiah Simmons, and then they could have signed Cam Newton to a 2-year deal, and they could have run with a Cam Newton and Isaiah Simmons driven offense and defense then. I mean, Isaiah Simmons is going to be a once-in-a-generation type of guy, so why not sign Cam Newton to a 2-year deal, go get Isaiah Simmons, and run with it? I mean, the Chargers have a great defense. They have a good offense with a lot of weapons. You add Cam Newton to that offense, you add Isaiah Simmons to that defense in the draft. Hoo-wee, wow. I thought that was a valuable option for Cam Newton as well. I'm not sure why the Chargers went ahead and went with Justin Herbert. Clearly, the Chargers are in the mindset that they found their franchise quarterback and they're moving forward with that. So I understand where they're coming from, but the Chargers would have been a good spot for Cam Newton. So Cam Newton's too expensive. Cam Newton is not being offered a starting job in the NFL, and I think people are scared. I think coaches, GMs, other players, I think they're scared of his injuries. So if you mix all that stuff together with the amount of money that he's going to want, the fact that he wants to be a starting quarterback, and the fact that he's very injury prone, I think that's just a giant mixing pot for I'm not going to play in the NFL unless I take a backup job. I think Cam Newton's very talented. I think Cam Newton's talented enough to lead a Chicago Bears team if he would have gone to the Bears for a couple years. I think he's talented enough to lead that team to a Super Bowl and probably win a Super Bowl. As long as he came back healthy and his shoulder was fine, there was a lot of valuable options Cam Newton could have gone to. I'm not sure why a lot of these teams didn't do it. I think that it literally just breaks it down to the fact that he's injured all the time. He just came off of surgery. They're not allowed to have him in the building. They can't see him work out. He's going to want a little bit too much money, so the Bears went and signed a Nick Foles for probably, 25% less than Cam Newton was going to want. And that on top of everything else, I just think that's the recipe for Cam Newton not having a job in the NFL right now. So there you have it. The fans' questions have been answered. That is why I don't believe Cam Newton will have a starting job in the NFL probably ever again unless he fills in for someone who's injured. And Cam Newton better find out that he can take a lot cheaper deal and become a backup in the NFL if Cam Newton wants to stay in the NFL. There's not many teams that are going to open up for Cam Newton to go to. He's going to go as a backup, and his only playing opportunity from probably now until the end of his career is going to be because of the starting quarterback being injured. And if I may petition something real quick, if I'm Cam Newton, if I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, I want that marriage to happen. Bring Cam to Dogtown. Cam Newton will take over for Baker Mayfield 5 games in when Baker Mayfield has more and more excuses as to why he can't throw an accurate ball down the field, why he keeps throwing interceptions, why the Browns keep losing. Let him take over for Baker Mayfield. I think Cam Newton would do wonders in Cleveland. I think he would instantly make Cleveland the favorite in that division. I think he would instantly make Cleveland a Super Bowl contender. People are saying they're Super Bowl contender with Baker Mayfield. I think you put Cam Newton in his spot. You give Cam a loaded offense with great running backs. You give him a loaded defense with Myles Garrett. Hands down. I think if I'm a Browns fan, I'm petitioning for Cam Newton to come to Browntown, to come up there, be a part of the doghouse, and go try and win a Super Bowl there. Let's segue over to this real quick. Major League Baseball's Commissioner Rob Manfred just came out and told ESPN that he is not confident that there will be a 2020 baseball season, and that as long as there is no dialogue with the MLB Players Association, they run the risk of not playing the 2020 MLB season. So here's what I'm going to say about the MLB. The MLB makes it hard for people like me to be an MLB fan. I am a Chicago Cubs fan. Go Cubs go. Won a World Series in 2016. Thank you, Cubs, for not letting me die without winning a World Series. I'm sure we'll go another 320 years without winning another one. But hey, I at least got to witness one in my lifetime, and I'll tell my kids about it, along with the coronavirus. Those will be my 2 big things I tell them about. But the MLB makes it hard for the casual baseball fan, the casual sports fan to really engage. I feel very strongly that the NBA and the NFL and all of college sports do a great job of being able to engage the fan. And even though the NBA season is a little bit too long, when it hits Christmas time, those fans are engaged. I know I'm engaged from Christmas Day on, and it's very fun to watch the NBA. The NBA definitely needs to be trimmed out, but we all can agree, from the most diehard baseball fan to the most casual fan like me, we all can agree. The MLB season is too damn long. I swear, and I can't make this up, from the start of the MLB playoffs last year, I grew a beard all the way down to my belly button. I can't make it up. The MLB, who cares if they don't play this season? The next season starts in 7 days or whatever it is after their other one concludes. Plus, it doesn't help that you have no salary cap. So it's very hard for these players to be motivated to come back and play. There's very few of them that, because of the love of the game, want to come back and play for the fans, or want to play without fans just because they love the game. If I got paid, me personally, if someone gave me $167 million to stand in a dugout, chew big league gum, spit sunflower seeds, and maybe have to go out in the outfield and stand in the sun for 25 minutes a day, what motivation do I have to come back and do that if I can just continue to collect a giant check? None. I think that there's a reason the MLB Players Association has engaged in no dialogue. 99% of them don't give a damn. Stop paying these players. Stop having these no salary caps where you're giving these guys $500 million for a 5-year contract, and then you're shocked when that person doesn't want to show up to work. It's like the guy at work who hits the lottery, and you're like, oh, has anybody seen Bill? No! Bill's on an island somewhere blowing all his money. Did Bill go buy himself some new teeth? Of course not. Bill went and bought 12 cars. What I'm saying is, it's just hard to motivate these MLB players when you just pay them too much money. They have no motivation to come back. There's no fans there. Baseball fans, to be honest, are boring. I'm tired of people telling me, well, it's America's pastime. It's Great. Maybe it's pastime. Amp it up. What's that song? And it's a pump the jam. Give me something. I mean, the NBA has done a very good job of engaging fans, and, fans get to vote for this, fans get to vote for that, and it's fun to watch NBA games. The crowd is electric. NFL has always done a great job of engaging the fans, especially with the end zone celebrations and things of that nature. Those are awesome. College sports does it the best, and that's why everybody in the world, even if they're not sports fans like my dad, he loves college sports, because college sports are fun. It's energetic. It's lively. You go to a baseball game, unless you're there and you have a couple beers in you, it's a little bit boring. I mean, I enjoy going to a baseball game and watching a good game here or there, but the MLB is not doing anything to evolve. The most fun I have watching baseball games most of the time is when both dugouts clear and you see a bunch of people beating each other with bats. Oh, I'm sorry, there's nothing funnier. But my problem with the MLB is I don't think that they're going to finish this season, and that's worrisome if I'm an MLB fan, and if I'm the head of the MLB commissioner, head of the Players Association. I'm worried, because you're kind of paying these players like they're spoiled brats, and none of them have any motivation to come back and play. There's very few players really speaking out and saying, hey, I want to be here, I want to play. Very few of them. So am I shocked that the MLB is not coming back? No. The NBA has kept us informed. The commissioner has done an awesome job. Adam Silver has done an awesome job during this whole coronavirus. He's walked us through his steps. It's kind of like he goes to his board meeting and he comes out and makes a statement, hey, this is where we're at. This is where we're going to be. He came out with a very interesting playoff format. He came out with a very interesting end of regular season to play into the playoffs. He came out with a very interesting, idea of going to Florida and everybody staying in hotels. He came out with a lot of great stuff, and that's why people who maybe were on the fence, NBA fans, are starting to come back. I talked to a fellow last week who didn't really watch a whole lot of NBA. He enjoyed it here or there, but he's all on board. He's excited for the new playoff format. He's excited for everything that the commissioner's doing. He's excited that the NBA is wanting to come back and play, and that they've given us a timeline to come back and play, and that's what the fans want. The NBA wants to finish their season. That's great. The NFL has always done a good job of keeping people updated. College football, college basketball, all of them have come out and made statements. They're all working towards being able to play next season. And the MLB has made no efforts. Their players are making no effort. Their managers are making no effort. The commissioner's just sitting around waiting for something to happen. And that's why the MLB is where it is. You name me the last time you saw a full stand in an MLB game. Not very often. Now, I know they do have 2,325 games a year, so it is hard to fill those out every single year. But when the games are even in primetime games, there's seats all over the place. Baseball's got to get with the times. And I have a lot of people that are going to tell me, you're just a baseball hater. No, I love the MLB. I love the Chicago Cubs. I enjoyed watching it for several years. The last couple of years, it's slowly dwindled in my eyes. It's not keeping up with the times. It's not fun. It's not energetic. They're not doing much.